Hi everyone. So in this module, we will be discussing emerging technology and how it affects the world. So technology changes every day. It's one of those subjects that if you're majoring in technology or in the technology industry as a professional, you always have to keep up with what is changing. It literally changes every single day. It looks long term. Things that may not seem to be adopted today could be adopted 10 years from now as far as technology standards. And there's always futuristic thinking. So some of the stuff that we thought about, like being able to talk into a smartphone and ask Siri a question, we thought might be space age technology, but it's actually here. Or having a watch that has all the same capabilities that your phone has that you can talk into. All that stuff was what we deemed space age technology maybe 10 or 20 years ago, but today it's a reality. So we want to think about and look at how does emerging technology change the landscape in our everyday life. So the digital revolution, as the internet is available to more and more households, so is the world market. So the internet itself, and even let's say when computers first became a household item in the 90s, the internet was not as widely used. It wasn't as widespread, either for geographical infrastructure reasons, all types of reasons. But today, the internet being everywhere, Wi-Fi, or just high-speed internet, your internet on your phone, now even having 5G, it makes all of these things possible to bring services like cloud storage, streaming video, FaceTime, video conferencing, all that you can do from anywhere. So it changes the landscape of what is possible. The concrete brick and mortar limitations of yesterday, it hindered commerce, communication, travel, education. Today, it doesn't. It pretty much, as long as you have internet connectivity, you can do just about anything. Now, with commerce, before the internet, consumers were limited into what they could buy based on their geographical location. If you didn't have a specific store near you, you couldn't shop there, or you couldn't get certain items because didn't have a store that offered them. Now, Amazon, they make around $250,000 per minute. So you can imagine that they want to keep their website up and running for consumers to buy stuff, as well as it pretty much just costs them a lot of money, right? So any downtime would not be good for them. And they've kind of become the largest retailer. Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, increased his net worth last year by $37 billion. And I know I'm a big Amazon fan. I'm an Amazon addict, maybe. So if a consumer wanted to buy something their local store didn't offer, they would either have to drive to another location, rely on the store to transport the item from another store, or they were out of luck. Now you can buy stuff. Amazon, for instance, they have not just revolutionized what we buy, but how we buy it and the time it takes for it to be delivered. When e-commerce started, maybe about 20 years ago, it still might take a week or two or a month for you to get your item. Now with Prime, it could be there in 2 days, and with Amazon now, you can actually get it in just an hour if you live close to one of their distribution centers. I know, I tried it out. I live in Knightdale, North Carolina. They have a distribution center in Durham, and as long as you live in Wake County, they will deliver it to you in under an hour. Certain items. Now, of course, you'll pay a little bit more extra for that service, but either way. So today, almost all major stores chains offer online shopping, even grocery stores. A lot of refrigerators that are now Wi-Fi enabled or internet enabled. You can order some groceries from your main panel on your refrigerator, which is crazy to think about. I remember when I was in college, about 10 years ago, my instructor in networking said toasters will have network connectivity. Not quite there yet, maybe, I don't know, but definitely refrigerators. Online shopping breaks down the geographical barriers because, again, we don't have any barriers. We can buy stuff from other countries, they can buy stuff from us. The global market has really expanded because of online shopping. It provides more competition in the market, which does help control the market prices. So obviously more competition, the prices kind of regulate themselves. Tax laws are still struggling with online shopping just because, again, where do you charge taxes? And even so, like when you go to, if you have a bad consumer experience, whose laws govern what you're doing. Is it where you're buying or where they're selling it from? Because all of those barriers are kind of in a lot of gray areas. So a lot of times ethical laws, even punitive laws in the legal system have a hard time applying to some of the online, the internet world of things rather than the brick and mortar. When a crime or even like a commerce crime was committed before financial crime, we could understand who has jurisdiction because it was a brick and mortar operation. Not so much now, becomes a lot of gray area. Online shopping has introduced the consumers to different security risks. Obviously, online identity theft, fraudulent shopping websites, online false advertisements. There's tons and tons and tons of things that we could go through. It's not exactly a security class, but just know more encryption algorithms are needed for better security as hackers break the previous encryption coding. So that's always a kind of a cat and mouse game. Even some of these security companies go hire some of the ex-hackers because again you have to think like one to be able to beat them. So it's always always important to keep your stuff safe. Always question where you may be buying stuff from because you never want to fall victim to identity fraud. It is very easy. To compete in the internet-driven global economy, it's almost a requirement now for a company to have some type of website or online store. It's, crazy not to in today's market. Some places are just even all online. Internet has changed many companies' strategies in that and what they spend their market to. Kind of Google marketing is one big one about, getting to the top of that list. They call it Google juice. There's actually a whole book about it, about how to kind of get your company to the forefront of search engine results. Online advertising is a new division of marketing that is increasing exponentially. And that kind of deals with one of the things we'll talk about in this chapter in our discussion board, because it's all about how can they turn that our preferences and what we do and the data we generate from being online all the time now into marketing. So it's, some gray area in the ethical stuff there. But again, you know, and then companies use cookies to track your shopping history. So again, a lot about the tracking. So yes, we are all connected online, but is a lot of gray area there as well. Now this is in the PowerPoint you can click on 8 largest e-commerce companies in the world. Some of the well-known ones, obviously Amazon, eBay, Groupon, and then Rakuten, who is the sponsor of one of my favorite basketball teams, the Golden State Warriors. That's the only reason I know who and what that company is. But they are also an e-commerce company as well that is pretty large in a global scale. Online banking has also made a big impact on the business sector. All banks pretty much have some type of app or online banking. I know I do. Online banking, you can see everything instantly pretty much in there, but it must be secure, available, and confidential. We in security and internet security follow a CIA standard, not CIA the organization, but it stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So it must be available. We want our stuff available, right, when we need it, but it also must be confidential, meaning we got to use some type of login, and we also must be able to trust the integrity that they are who they say they are. That is actually my banking website and not somebody asking for your information and then doing something fraudulent with it. Companies now offer online bill pay features, and then online banking apps for mobile devices now offer picture check deposits, on-the-go bill pay, all types of features depending on which bank you use. The biggest change also is digital currency. So there's all types of digital currency available. Bitcoin, if you've probably heard of that one, that's the most popular. They are traded on the market. It's independent of any nation's currency, so it's not like a US dollar or a Japanese yen or the Mexican peso. It's not related to any country. Bitcoin is a leader in digital currency, but again, many exist on the market. And today, one Bitcoin is actually worth $8,761.33. Now, that's an astronomical kind of number there, right, in terms of what one Bitcoin costs, but that's about what it costs. So if you had like zero point 0.1 Bitcoin, then you'd have like 10% of that. So there's all different types of followers in Bitcoin in the market, and places are starting to accept Bitcoin as a form of payment. I cannot personally afford one. However, Some can't. Communication. Before the internet, snail mail was the most used form of mail communication. So, like the postal service, right? Before the internet, phone calls, in-person visits, and mail letters were among the most popular forms of communication. But today, text messaging has surpassed all of them, according to a 2018 Gallup poll. Pretty much, if you were 18 years or older living in the United States, they polled about 100,000 people, and I know I text all the time. It's very easy, convenient. The person on the other end can get to it when they can, and don't have to, check their voicemail or anything. Cell phone networks have made changes due to the convergence of the different technologies. So think about, 20 years ago, if you had a cell phone, you just talked on it. Now you've got text message, talk, data plans where you're streaming video, Netflix, Facebook, all different types of stuff. So they have to be able to handle it. Today, most cell phones have 4G and now even 5G technology. My iPhone 10 I just got not too long ago does support 5G, and I will tell you it is a lot faster. So the couple of places where it's been upgraded for Verizon, if you have them, or maybe AT&T with 5G, it is pretty blazing fast, I will say. Wireless cell phone providers have had to change their networks though based on the stuff they're supporting. So a lot of data going around. One of those things, just like the Amazon generates $250,000 every minute, there's like some statistics for the internet, how much data is generated every minute. Almost an exabyte, which is bigger than megabyte, gigabyte. Then you got terabyte, petabyte, then you have an exabyte, and there's 1,000 times each one of those in between each. So 1 exabyte of data is generated in the United States every minute from people being online. The rise of the cell phone only household. I know in my household, we do not have a physical landline. We used to for a fax line, but that is it. Today, we've only got cell phones. So, and there's really no need for the landline, not for us anyway, in my household, maybe your household the same, but we only have cell phones because we can carry them wherever we go and still use them at home as well, just like everything else. Healthcare. Healthcare records are now being recorded using large database systems and shared electronically. That allows for ease of going from doctor to doctor. You don't have to go pick up your medical records anymore, and it saves them from having. I know when I used to go to the doctor when I was a kid, they had to pull your chart out of the little stacks and stacks behind the front desk. Not anymore. All of it's electronic. You'll see your nurse probably carrying around a tablet or a laptop or something like that. Even the prescriptions are sent electronically. This allows near immediate sharing of information when you're switching between doctors, healthcare providers, and these records have to be secured. So again, I teach a lot of security students how to secure these large databases and other things, and it must be implemented in many, many layers. Travel. Before the internet and GPS technologies, travelers would actually have to buy a map. I remember stopping and asking for directions, or my parents when I was a kid. Not anymore, right? You got GPS, not even just the GPS units anymore that only did GPS. You can do it on your phone. And you kind of think about that in terms of further convergence. We used to have camcorders and separate digital cameras, and some may now, if that is your profession, that have a really nice one, but most people rely on their cell phones for it today. You can buy airline tickets to the airport over the phone, book hotels on your phone or your computer. You can even there's apps that will show you where the cheapest gas is, or like my car, it'll tell me if I'm low on fuel, where the nearest gas station is. And you can even deal with traffic delays, construction without any prior notice. Your phone or your GPS or the internet will let you know that. Obviously, GPS is built into many mobile devices, GPS watches, all types of things that allow you to navigate far better than what we used to. Travel, airline tickets, real-time delays. You can just type in a flight number and it'll tell you if it's delayed in Google. And it'll even show you the route that it's taking. And it makes it easy for flight notifications and changes. I know the other year, one of the major airlines had a hour where they couldn't do anything because of a technology glitch. It cost them millions of dollars in that hour. Even hotels are available for view online. You can get deals, make reservations, compare. And these are some of the comparison websites, right? Expedia, Priceline, Hotels.com, Travelocity, Kayak, Cheap Tickets, Booking.com, Skip Lagged, all these different sites to book flights, hotels, and all types of stuff. Now, even education, right? We're taking an online class. This is an online class. Before the internet, education was limited by your geographical location. If you could actually physically get there, class times, qualified teachers. Today, the internet has made way for a new form of learning called distance education. Anywhere the internet is available, distance education and online learning is possible. So you can go to school halfway across the country. You might not even be close to Nash Community College, but we're able to deliver you some quality instruction. The amount of universities, colleges, and schools available have increased. Curriculum subject matters and majors have increased. Even the qualified teachers. So if you don't have anybody with that degree around you, you can go find one. I know that there's a story, kind of like a success story, from South Africa University who was saved by that because they were having trouble finding qualified teachers. But due to online education, they're now able to do that. And these are just some of the distance education tools. We use what's called Open LMS, which is kind of like a blend between Moodle and Blackboard. We used to use Moodle. We've used Blackboard before. I've used Canvas in other teaching, Zoom and Loom, email clients, web conferencing software like GoToMeeting or anything. Online environments such as Second Life has been used for teaching. You got to get a little avatar and everything. The only limitations is, again, where the internet availability and infrastructure is and the budget. Obviously, again, this is an online class, so we like to promote Nash Online. Some of the distance education tools, again, I went to get my master's degree online with ECU. Again, we mentioned the University of South Africa distance education story there. Google Classroom, that's another one that has a lot of educational tools. And lastly, entertainment. Technology has changed the way we communicate, right? Now we just don't offer cable through our cable provider or phone through a phone provider. They offer all of it together. I used to have TiVo when I lived in Rocky Mount with Southern Link. Now I've got Spectrum. You know, they've got their own form of DVR. I rarely ever watch live TV anymore unless it's like a sporting event because it's so much easier to fast forward through those commercials. Genie by DirecTV, the Hopper by Dish. And then, you know, there's other online services have drastically reduced the number of traditional cable subscribers like Netflix, Hulu Live, and Hulu, Sling TV, Roku platforms, Amazon Fire Sticks, countless apps that you can watch on demand for free or for a small amount compared to what you would normally pay a cable provider. And then, of course, the delivery methods continue to change. Buying movie tickets online now, all types of stuff, making reservations, and then even going along with that, with the cable providers and Netflix and Hulu, they all put brick and mortar stores like Blockbuster, even like Redbox, they put Blockbuster out of business, even though that's still kind of brick and mortar. Most of the time you make the reservations on your smartphone and then go pick up your discs. So again, that's just an overview of how we have changed, how the internet and emerging technologies has changed entertainment, the way we travel, education, financial and commerce stuff in the world. Everything has changed by the way we are connected to the technology as well as the internet. And the internet is the sole thing that is driving all of it, because without the internet, you couldn't have any of the other avenues of hardware and software, which will be our next module. So stay tuned for that one.